I am going to welcome Gordon Smith, and Pam Wakeman will be talking to Gordon. Gordon's coming to us from New River, Arizona. Welcome.
Hey, Gordon. Oh, there you are. Hi, Gordon.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, it's great. It's great to have you joining us all the way from Arizona.
Happy to be here. Fred and I are ready to go.
Hey, Freda. So before we begin, I just would like to introduce you to our audience. Gordon Smith was born and raised in South Jersey. He has been working in glass since the early 80s and was exposed to paperweights through the work of James and Nantes Contes. While volunteering at WheatonArts, Gordon learned how to work with hot glass in the traditional way. Today, he continues to learn new techniques for working glass through research, trial and error, and participation in workshops. Gordon, before we begin, I would like to also say congratulations on the Paperweight Collectors Association Spotlight article.
Oh, thank you.
It was beautiful. I really enjoyed reading the story of how you discovered a new way of creating weights and the role Wheaton played in your evolution as an artist. It was just as Paul said, it was very moving.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, without Wheaton, we wouldn't be talking. So.
Oh, that's good to hear. All right, well, you have the floor.
All right. I believe you have 2 videos that you're going to be showing in a minute. But first, I'd like to say thank you very much to everybody, you 3 putting this together, and all the people at Wheaton. Very appreciative. It's great. It's a shame we can't be together, but this is the next best thing. And I think it's so far so good. It's a tough act to follow.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you and all your patience, and we're learning on the spot.
Yeah, it's fine.
Video, can you see it?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Mark.
Okay.
I don't mute the volume, or whether you want me to speak over this or not. That's up to you. I can do either one.
I'll play it, and then if you want me to turn it down, I'll turn it down.
Okay.
Everybody, welcome to my workspace. This is my studio. This is where I do all my work. It's not a very large space, but it's a very comfortable one. Do a little walk around here. There's all the glass that I use for my paperweights. And you can see here I have a nice view out my windows. It's all a lot of high desert cactus and that sort of thing. It's a comfortable place to work in. And you can see here, this is my main work area. This is where I actually make the paperweights. Once I get my design made, there's my rollers and my torch for doing that. And over here to the right, this is where I sit and do all my flame working, all the parts of my paperweights. They get made here. There's a hot plate, got a couple little flowers sitting there I'm working on. And you can see bins and drawers, and everything's got rods of glass and design ideas in it. And if we step back here a little bit, you can see this is one of my annealing ovens, and more glass, all my crushed glass, which I crush myself and sift it out. I keep that on the wall right next to me. There's the annealing oven, some more drawers. And then over here is, I have another annealing oven, another little workbench area. I keep rods of glass and things like that. But give you an idea of my space, it's not very big, like I said, but it's a very comfortable workspace for myself. I get a lot done in here, and it's a very, very enjoyable place to be. A little windy out there today. But that's my space where I work. There you have it. I hope you enjoy the next video of me making a dragonfly wing. Bye-bye. Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to do a little demonstration here of how I make the wings for my dragonflies. You can see here I have one in my hand. That's
what I've got here
Go ahead.
Yeah, what I've got, I'm going to be showing, a lot of people ask me about my dragonflies and the dragonfly wings in particular, because they have that beautiful blue and green and gold iridescent shimmer to them. So I thought I would demonstrate how I do that and show the pieces that I use in the process for doing that. So you can see here, I have a close-up of one of the dragonfly wings made, and you can see some of those iridescent colors. And what you'll see me doing here as you start the video, I work with dichroic, a piece of plate glass that I cut small little pieces off and heat them up on my tripod.
Wings, and a lot of people ask me about them. I think they're intrigued by that iridescence and dichroic shiny surface on there. So I'm going to show you how I do that and explain it a little bit. But that's a finished wing, just to give you an idea of what I'm about to make. And it's done with two parts. One is the dichroic glass, which you see right here. I buy pieces in plate glass form, and I break off the squares like you see here, and you can see that dichroic surface, nice mirrored surface on there, and that's made with a chemical treating sprayed onto the surface of the plate glass, and then it's put in an oven. A combination of electricity.
You want to stop it there?
Yeah, I
Marcy,
can't,
yeah, we can't see the video.
we're not seeing the video.
We're
No.
seeing the arrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me restart it then. Okay.
And heat create
There
a finish
Good.
on the glass. And that's pretty much all I know about that. I don't know the real science behind
Can you
it.
turn the volume down?
That's how it starts. I take a small piece of that, I put them on my hot plate and heat them up.
Yes.
And while they're getting warm, I prepare a rod, which you see right here. This is a piece of clear. It's a cane that
Did
I
you wanna
pulled,
talk
and it's
over it?
got
Go ahead.
black stripes on it.
Yeah,
And
I'll
I've previously prepared that, but you can
right
see
here.
what that looks like.
you can turn the
Okay.
volume.
And what I do is I
Better?
pull the rod.
Yeah, there you go. What was missed there in that little bit about the dichroic, I explained that the dichroic surface on the plate glass is done with a chemical treatment and then electricity and heat, which fires that chemical to produce this mirrored finish on the plate glass. That's how I purchased the glass. It's already in that form, and I break off little pieces like I showed and heat them up on a hot plate. The second part of the process, which you see here, is I have a clear rod that's got black striping on it, and I've prepared that already. What you're seeing me do now is I heat and twist a small section, much like you'd see someone making a lace. And okay, there's a black dot in the middle. There you go.
There we go.
But I twist that, and what I'll do here is I will then flatten that out, kind of like a little, as if I'm making a petal for a flower or a leaf, and it gives me this cross-woven pattern in the glass.
So Gordon, how was that striping initially created? Do you pull canes together and wrap them together?
Yeah, what I do is I take a here and I ball up a little section, and then I use my finger here, I lay black threads all around it. I do six lines, and then I melt that and pull that rod out. And then that's how I get to that point.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I make my own canes. I believe you can actually buy that particular cane with stripe, but I make all my own. Because I like different dynamics. So,
Sure, and I'm sure it gives you some more control.
yeah, it does. So what I've done here is I've got that small piece of dichroic glass sitting on a hot plate just to my right, and I'm going to grab it with my tweezers and attach it to this clear. And you want to be careful to keep flame away from the dichroic surface, that chemical treatment. So I work with the flame on the back side of the surface. The dichroic glass comes with that chemical treatment only on one side. So you can see there that the dichroic is actually facing us, which is away from the flame, so I don't burn it up. Now I'll attach the rod, and that just acts as a holder. You have to work somewhat quickly and just flash it in and out of the fire a little bit so you don't ruin that iridescence. So I keep the side hot, and I'm going to lay that piece of the lace part there. I'm going to lay it right on top of that dichroic surface. You can see me demonstrating that. And that protects the dichroic finish, so I can then put heat to it without ruining it. And it also gives me a kind of a webbed pattern like you see in the wings of a dragonfly, or a honeybee would be the same kind of thing.
And because the webbing is over that clear, that protects the glass, and you can still see the dichroic underneath.
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah. And the more I work here, the more you'll see that. And also, you can see there's a lot of extra glass around where that section is. That's all going to get peeled away. That's just extra material. And you can see the more I heat it and start to shape things and work, you start to see more of that finish coming through.
Sure.
I'll add, first I'll take a piece of scrap rod there and I peel away all that extra glass, and you have to be careful because you don't want to ruin the webbing that you've put on there. So you work very small and delicately with a very small fire.
If the webbing gets too hot, it warps, correct?
Yeah, it'll warp. You'll stretch it out. I mean, you eventually stretch it to make the wing, but you don't want the edges of it to get burned away. So that's why you have to be a little careful for this part of the process.
And you're working so small.
Yeah. It's in the video here. Flame looks fairly big. It's actually a really, really small flame that I'm working with. And I work my way around. Now that I've got the bottom side of the wing all cleaned up, I clean up just the end there. And I'm going to attach a rod to the finished end, and I'll finish off the top side. And also during this, I get rid of a lot of the wing. I've probably got twice as much as what I'll eventually use in the finished piece. So you'll see that towards the end, there's a lot of extra material I pull away, but I make sure that I have enough for what I want to do. And I've done this in paperweights I make with. You actually have a choice here, and I've done it both ways, where the lace pattern is the upper side, and you see the dichroic on the back side coming through. I prefer to have the dichroic and mirrored finish on the upper side, but I've done both, and people have requested both. So it's interesting, when you're done with the wing, you can flip it and you do it one way or the other.
Technically speaking, is it easier to do it one way or the other because of the risk of burnout for the dichroic surface?
No, you want to treat, no matter which way your finished piece is going to be, you want to have the same care when you're making it. I first tried without doing the lace, and it was just dichroic glass here, with nothing covering the surface, and that's when I found that 99% of the time I was burning up that surface and finish. So that's when I decided to add webbing to it. Another
Is this
interesting
process that you are working with here, the webbing, removing the excess, is this something that is unique to you, or did you learn it? How did you come about using this process?
I just figured that it was just one of those things, trial and error. Pretty much, I think Paul spoke about that pretty well a little bit. We just kind of figure things out. We come up with a new idea. You just kind of make up your own technique. And there you can see now, I've got that all prepared. There you can see that mirror. Now I'm going to attach a rod to the end here, and I'll start to shape the dragonfly wing out for its final shape and size. And it also, the dichroic finish, as you stretch the glass, it starts to become kind of a crackly look to it. It doesn't stay solid, so to speak. You start to see little sections of clear through the mirrored finish. It's a beautiful effect in the end. And the same thing, I've done these with 24 karat gold leaf instead of dichroic glass. And you get that same effect, and it's a very beautiful effect in the finished wing.
So you're speaking of a lot of layering of materials. With any of this, have you ever experienced compatibility issues?
Yes, you can have problems. Gold can be a little finicky. Silver leaf as well, they can be a little bit finicky. So I do a lot of testing. I think that's my scientific glass background, plus having worked with Jim and Nantascante. They test everything like crazy for compatibility before they ever did any of their work. Probably did 2 or 3 different kinds of testing, and I find myself doing the same thing. Even today, when I get new colors, I test everything and I make a test paperweight with just chunks of color, or I'll put wings like this in a paperweight as a compatibility test paperweight, and anneal it, look at it under a polariscope so that I can avoid the possible crackage. You can see here now that I've stretched this out, you can see the waist I was speaking about earlier. I clean it up and I get it to where it's just the diameter I want, the width that I want, and the length that I want. And you start to really see the effect of the wing there. When I'm done here, I've got it shaped, and I just pull it off of the rod that I was holding it with. And as any other part that you're working on, as soon as you finish it, you put it on a hot plate. And I have a hot plate to my right there that's always on, keeping warm. And all the parts that I make for my paperweights or parts of the paperweight go on the hot plate, and they stay there, and I let them cool down slowly. And see, there's the finished wing.
Oh, beautiful.
And so that's how I do that. That's the process for making the dragonfly wing. And I'll do that for 4. I'll make 3 more wings, and they're ready to go to a dragonfly body.
Great. Gordon, we have a question about the COE of the glass. Do you prefer 104 or 96?
Yeah, I use all 104 coefficient glass. I don't use any of the Kugler or Zimmerman or Gaffer. I used to, but I transitioned to the higher coefficient glass, compatible with the crystal. I get a little scared. I don't want to put so many hours, for instance, my snakes and my fish. There's so many hours to go into those designs. I don't want to risk the possible cracking with that large difference in coefficient. So I work with all 104, Italian, Chinese, and whatever other. There's a lot of new companies coming out with high coefficient colored glass that kind of little small businesses. So.
Sure. So we saw that, you know, to make one wing, it took you about 15 or so minutes from start to finish, not including the creating of the rod with the webbing. The technique you created for those scales that you use on your reptiles, like your snakes and your lizards, it's so detailed and realistic. How long does it take you to create one creature, a whole creature, using that technique?
Yeah, if I've already done all the overlays of colors and pulled the rods down and the rods are ready to go, which is a lot of prep in itself. For instance, snake, I work on a snake for anywhere from 2 to 3 days, and I work about 6 hours a day. And that's just to make the snake, just putting scales on a snake. Anywhere from 20 to 24 hours to do.
That's incredible.
The fish are a little bit quicker. The fish only take, they're made 4 hours a piece. There's so much prep time that goes into what we do. All the colors I use, I don't use any color just by itself. No matter what I'm making, no matter what the design, I'm combining 2 or 3 different colors together, making, overlaying the colors and then pulling those rods down. And I can work for a full day or 2 just preparing rods before I start to work on a design. So,
do you have a favorite out of all, koi fish, dragonflies, reptiles? Do you have a favorite?
Not really. I have designs that are a little less stressful, for sure, to work with.
Sure.
Because at some point, sometimes you go into the studio and you're about to do something, you go, like, working on a snake, and I know in 3 days I'm going to be scale crazy.
Sure. But
I love making all the things that I make. I love the process. I love to see the piece. But there's really no favorite.
Sure. So we have time for about one more question, and I would like to ask you about your subject matter. I've noticed over the years of watching you and your work, and I see these shifts in subject matters, and I'm privileged enough to be able to know you and be able to talk to you in person, and I know that you've moved around. So has your geographical location influenced or changed or caused some of these shifts that happen in your subject matter?
Yeah, I think they do, without me even knowing it. And my guess is, with any artist, no matter what their environment, just the imprint of seeing where you are each and every day, I think it can influence just the way you think and the way you how you look at your work. When I'm around, if I was living on the beach and diving all the time, I think the marine life would just come out of my work more without me consciously saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Living in the desert, I'm constantly looking down at the ground, and I see these little micro environments going on. And I think that does come through in the work. The environment definitely influences us, for sure. It does make it, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Great. And we do have one question. Someone really wants to know, where do you get your dichroic sheet glass?
Oh, gosh. Who is that? I get that from, not who is it that's asking.
I know.
It's, I want to say I get it from Whale Apparatus. It's either Whale or maybe Mountain Glass. There's a couple places that sell it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I thought. It's pretty you can find it out there at a few suppliers, right?
Yeah. And a few different forms as well.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. It was a joy to see your studio and watch you make that wing and get a little bit closer viewpoint of a demo from you. That was very special. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, and it's a pleasure, everybody. I hope everybody's being safe and well. I look forward to the rest of the day, seeing what everybody has to contribute. Thank you very much again for coming into my world for a little bit, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Gordon, I want to say that we all miss you in South Jersey. It's Marcy again, in case you can't tell. And I know you enjoy Arizona, but you know, I hope you come back and visit to.
Yeah, you bet. Well, we miss you too, and we love coming to Wheaton and just spending time there. So next time we're in New Jersey, we'll definitely see you guys.